So it's 6 o'clock. I'd like to open up the meeting, the regular planning meeting for Thursday, March 7th. Be it resolved that the meeting be called to order and that the agenda for the meeting be adopted as circulated. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Paxton moves. Councilor
Second.
Kleiber seconds it. Next is,
Call the question.
can I call for any comments, questions? None. Can I call for a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Carried. Be it number 3, be it addendums to the agenda. Be it resolved that council accept the following additions, deletions, and changes to the agenda. Could I have a mover, please?
What additions and deletions are you adding?
None.
Oh,
Not adding any.
then we don't have to do it.
None?
No,
No, okay.
pass it by.
Good. Next is opening remarks. Councilor Paxton has some remarks.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I know we have a long meeting and a heavy agenda. I just want to keep my remarks really brief, but I know in the last couple of days, we've had more precipitation come down than the entire year of 2024 so far, and I just want to give kudos and compliment the RM for the outstanding work they've done with regards to snow clearing. Also, I did hear on the radio, one of the major news channels, that they were interviewing the Minister of Infrastructure, and the interviewer was asking about how many pieces of equipment are on the highways, and people don't see the equipment, what's happening, and the Minister was talking about ways to improve the snow clearing service, and that they were moving towards, I thought was really interesting, a 24/7 snow clearing system. So I thought that was interesting because, I mean, you see McPhillips, you see Main Street. I know Main Street because when these snow events happened, the one that happened on the 4th and the one that happened recently on the 6th, Provincial Trunk Highway number 9 was pretty much one lane of traffic both ways in the morning, but the issue was addressed in the afternoon when the plows came out. But my point is that these are economic corridors for people, people that are essential services. We have people in the healthcare industry that need to go to work, they can't remote to work. People in the hospitality industry, same thing, they have to show up to work, they can't remote. So it makes it really challenging when these economic corridors like Highway number 8, Highway number 9 aren't cleared in the morning. Especially, like, I noticed the snow stopped on this the other day. What days did they made this? March the 7th. So yesterday, March the 6th, the snow pretty much ended on around midnight. There was an opportunity. There was a window of opportunity to clear the highways from midnight until 6 o'clock when people started hitting the highways to go to work. So I was heartened to see that, or to hear that, pardon me, Mr. Mayor, from the Minister of Infrastructure, that they're moving to that. And it also kind of reminds me of, I'm going to make some balanced comments here. It reminds me of a discussion that we had last year around this table for snow clearing, and that we were talking about, we specifically talked about Miller Road, Jackman Road, and other streets where there are hot spots with drifting and accumulations that make it difficult for people to pass through these streets, these residential streets. And so I think there was an opportunity to address that. And it's just something that I just want to put on the record so that it's noted for future, that when we have these discussions again, that the RM continues to look for ways to improve the service. The service is very good, but it's our job to make sure that we continue to talk and have discussions about ways to improve the service and make it better for our citizens. So I'll just leave it at that. And again, extend my thanks to the RM for a job well done. I came home from work today. The streets were plowed. I drove through a couple streets, they were plowed, and that's great. I just think there's an opportunity for the RM to maybe extend some practices based on our discussion last year about snow clearing, to deal with areas where it is problematic, right? The winds blow the snow in certain areas. I'm not saying it does this in all areas of the RM, but certain areas are like that, and so we need to address that. So I'll just leave it at that, Mr. Mayor, and again, thank you very much.
Thank you. So we'll go down to 5.1, open public hearing, variance order V07-24. Be it resolved that this meeting of council recessed for the purpose of holding a public hearing pursuant to section 96A of the Planning Act. Can I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councilor Kleiber moves. Can I
Second.
second her? Councilor Bichetti seconds it. Can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. So now we'll go into the public hearing. We'll have the presenter from RRPD, Derek, if you can start, please.
Thank you, Mayor. As you noted, this is variance number 7 of 2024 for the property located at 92 River Trail Drive. It's to reduce the side yard setback from 4 feet down to 2.88 feet in the RS service residential zone. So just a table just showing you once again what the variance is about. Here's the subject property you can see with the house existing on that. And this variance is coming to you, actually, by ways of a zoning memorandum that was requested to our office in, I believe it was 2020. And this is where homeowners or builders will give us a BLC and say, can you please confirm that everything is in conformance? And after looking at that, we said, no, it's not in conformance, actually. You need a variance. So just to elaborate on that a little bit more, we're not dealing with the entire building. We're dealing with a pillar that's at the porch. So here is the site plan, or one of them that I gathered from the original permit. You can see the little square there is the pillar. It's 4 feet away, and then here is the building location certificate, or the as-built. You can see that the pillar was not built where it was originally proposed. So that's the portion that we're talking about with the variance. As I noted, this is in the RS zone, and the setback for principal dwellings is 4 feet, but applicant's proposing to take this pillar down to 2.88 feet. And this has been circulated to the municipality as well for comments, and there is none of concern. Should council wish to approve this, there is just the one condition that we're recommending, and it's that this variance is limited to what's proposed, and anything else that comes forward would have to come to council if there's any changes. So I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Does council have any questions for the planner?
I guess I'm gonna ask it.
Yep, go ahead, Councilor
So
Shetty.
I'm looking at this Pollock and Wright land surveyors. The post's there, why was it not caught on that one? Like, why would they have? Or is that a new survey?
That was the new one. So that was the one that was submitted as part of the building location certificate when they asked for a zoning memorandum, the one that we have a look at to see if what's actually built adhered to what was approved.
This is October 13th, 2020.
Yep. That's when they asked for the zoning memorandum in
4 years.
2020.
Go ahead, Councilor.
So just further to Councilor Bisetti's question, they've known this has been, not in compliance for 4 years now?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a reason why it took this long to come to council?
That's probably a good question for them.
Okay. Any other questions? None? Okay, can I talk to our planner? The applicant can come forward?
We don't have the applicant registered.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they're in attendance.
Oh, yeah, okay, sorry. Please come forward, state your name and address.
Sure, so Ben Olivero with Ventura Homes, address being 122 Hopkins.
Okay. Your name was?
Ben,
Okay.
right.
Okay, go ahead, maybe explain why you're asking for variance that's, should have been done 4 years ago.
Sure thing. So the original variance application was started 4 years ago. The employee who had started with the variance application left the company, and it was one of those things that fell through the cracks before it was, effectively seen all the way through. It was noted that it was still an outstanding item 4 or 5 months ago when we restarted the variance application at that point. Got new letters of authorization, updated info, and proceeded from there.
And is there a reason why the post didn't line up where it was supposed to be?
Just a framing error during construction that wasn't caught.
Okay. Does council have any questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead, Councilor.
So your side yard, except for the post, is the side yard 4 feet on either side?
It is.
So you just got the post sticking out?
Just the post, and on that same side, there's fencing and AC unit that protrudes further than that post is currently.
Your ACU or their, the neighbor's ACU?
Our AC unit, so just to say that that's not the most protruding part of the home.
Yeah, I guess the question is, what's the access like with that sticking out there to the backyard? Is there any access? Or would you have to go on the other side, I think?
I have a picture of the home here.
I think we have that
Yeah,
picture.
as well.
Yeah, I can't see that picture very well, but.
Yeah, it's too big.
It's too big.
Right, have a picture?
Yeah, this just kinda takes up the whole screen and you gotta.
It's not really an accessible location, it's landscape.
Okay, let me see there.
just pass
Oh,
it.
okay. I'm not sure why they did that. That's so strange.
Oh, see, look, I resized it. Right-clicked on it and then I hit, yeah, so, yeah, and then, save image as, there.
Oh, you can see the column doesn't even line up with
I
my
didn't have
notes.
to do that, just hit cancel.
Oh, yeah.
This lines up,
I don't
now,
even know
doesn't
who
it?
did that.
That guy's still working for you?
So, redesign. No, he resized it, so I got
Okay.
to see it
Okay.
Yeah, just
You
quick,
good?
so if in, not saying you've had a similar situation, but in a situation like this, what have you guys, what has Ventura Homes done to remedy the situation, I guess?
If it's something small like this, we'll look to apply for a variance, especially if it'd be more invasive to the community to, you know, remediate the work at this point. If it's a subdivision that's still under construction, maybe it makes more sense to redo the work to the original plans at that point. It's a finished community, all of its houses around it are finished, it would be fairly invasive at this point to redo. So when it's a matter of, I think, 13 inches, in the past, we've applied for variances.
Is this a load-bearing column?
No.
Oh, they resized.
Any other questions?
Is there any way it can be moved, that column?
It's not load bearing.
I mean, it certainly can be moved. Just a matter of how invasive it is. So I mean, it carries the weight of that parapet wall, so maybe I shouldn't say it's not entirely load bearing, but that post is largely boxed out in just a decorative cladding. So that can maybe be downsized some.
Well, you're talking about the cladding that's going across.
This one here?
Yeah, like the white trim
Yeah.
is a lot larger than the enclosed post.
Yeah.
Councilor Campbell?
So I think the problem some of us have is, you know, if this would have come a year afterwards, you know, we definitely would have said, fix it, right? So how do we, you know, it wasn't done on purpose, you know, you explained the situation with the employee. 4 foot, you know, us as counselors, we already have the problem with 4 foot being a very small side yard. You know, this is 12 inches or whatever, 18 inches less or 14 inches less. So it's just that much more of a problem. We understand about the ACs there as well, so, you know, everybody's gonna have to make their own decision, but, it's unfortunate, yeah, and you know, I'm familiar with construction, so I know you probably have, some 2x10s on the inside and it's got a bigger box around it with the white cladding, yeah.
Right.
So, it could be trimmed down, it's, you know, obviously cost you guys some labor and, some materials, but it could be trimmed down.
Sure.
Go ahead, Councilor Shelton.
Where I have this problem is, you're saying it's a small part, but, you know, not this council, but previous council has had a home that's been built, and the whole side of a wall of a garage we asked to be moved. Because when we went to a 4 foot side yard, we were very specific that we're not gonna take variances to that. That's as minimum as we're gonna go. So you're saying it's small, but to us, it's, where do we stop? We set that 4 foot, and we made the guy move, you know, rebuild the side of a house. So, as you're saying, it is load bearing, but it's not a full structure of the whole home, right?
Right.
So, it's gonna be to everyone's call, I guess, up here.
Go ahead, Councilor.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you coming down and making the application and for us to consider it. as some of my colleagues said, we're already at the minimum 4-foot side yard. There's already other protruding, appliances and equipment in the side yard, and just from my look of the house, or what I think that it can be fixed. So that's what I'm leaning towards. I think that the standard needs to be at a high standard when we have when we're at our maximum, basically, with regards to 4-foot side yards. I think that's a tolerance for this council. I think this council's more interested in seeing bigger lots, so we're already at the threshold. So I think it's and it was an error, unfortunately. So it's something I think I'm supportive of having remedied.
Anything else?
Can I just ask him one
Go-
more?
go ahead,
Is the
Councilman Shaw.
balcony part, that's all within compliance, right? Like or it looks like a balcony from the picture, whatever.
Yeah, so it's a lowly sloped roof, but that little parapet wall, everything else is in accordance, just
So
that
it's-
post.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So are there any ones for the,
No one else registered for. In opposition is Norma Albert.
okay, just, you wanna speak, go ahead.
Norma Albert, 312 Evelyn Avenue. The information that I was able to research further on this was also referenced by Mr. Eno, and that's in this process where there would be the builder's or the building location certificate and an application going to Red River Planning. So I'm wondering, the same obvious thing, how does this take 4 years? So if an applicant had put something in and then something happens at their end, it seems that there needs to be some sort of a stop in the system that can also pick that up, so that Red River Planning, if they had one application come in and they said, no, this is not in compliance, then there needs to be some sort of a system where Red River Planning also follows up. The onus, of course, is gonna be on the builder, but Red River Planning also, the vast majority, I would think, of the information coming into them, I would hope, is in compliance. So the numbers that come in that are not in compliance, it seems that they need a system that also follows through so that these ones cannot, quote, fall through the cracks. And I think, that each of you have spoken well to how the community feels. There was not great joy with 4-foot side yards. And then you see the cantilevered alcoves and everything that's added onto that. So this, it's gotta be taking some load, but clearly there's a post underneath there, and this is cladding, and I think that, to set an example, that cladding has to be redone so that it's in compliance. If a home builder and contractors don't know how to build a home, who does? This is all they do, all day long. They work with architects, engineers, planners, they know the rules, and it's not, in my mind, when we're trying to build a community that we want to look a certain way, and we've already made, differences in how we've agreed, okay, we're going to smaller lots. But I think that at some point then we wanna say, but this is the way it needs to be done. We did set rules, we finally agreed to those rules, and when we come in for all of these variances, sometimes they're needed, but oftentimes, they shouldn't go through, because particularly if there's an error like this that can be corrected, then I think that it should be corrected.
Thank you very much. Any others in opposition?
Also Eleanor Lake in opposition.
My objections have been stated by council already. This is over.
Okay, thank you.
For information is Ron Lewis
Okay,
and Jerry Belinsky.
okay. Okay, you okay? Okay.
Jerry Blanky, 354 Garden View Drive. I have a question. On the south side, is the easement 4 foot? I can't
On-
see it.
Oh, on the other side.
Like, is it 4'6" or is it just 4 foot?
Says 1.2 here.
That's meters.
Meters?
That's 4 feet?
It's 4 feet.
What I'm saying is, what appears to me is, if it's 4 foot and it's too wide, then the house was too wide right at the beginning, it wasn't a mistake. If the least amount of easement was 4 foot on the south side, and you put this house down on that piece of property, and this exceeds it, then it's not a mistake, the house is too wide, the way I view it.
Oh,
Just
no.
a post. Just a post.
Well, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's not attached to the house though.
No, but I'm saying it's encroaching, right? The design of the house, whatever is attached to the house is the design of the house. So it's too wide.
So the applicant said that it was an error on the contractor that they went outside of the design of the house.
Okay.
The original design does not show the post this way. It
Oh,
was
so
an error
the-
by
so
the
the-
framer.
So when they built the house, they didn't build it to plan?
That one post.
Yes, that's
Okay,
right. The
that's
framer
what I
didn't
didn't
frame it up
understand, because
properly.
like it seems to me if it, you know, if it's 4 foot here and you're right to the maximum and you extend it, then it,
No,
right
it's
from the
just-
beginning it was wrong.
It's just the one post, yeah.
Okay.
And the post is independent of the house, you know, it's not attached to the house except for the roof on top, but there's no other structure to it, it's just standing there by itself. That's, so, they can be moved over, no
Okay,
problem.
that's what should be done.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, so then we'll,
Ask if there's anybody else.
is there anyone else that has comments, information, nothing? Okay, hearing none, okay, so now we're gonna go to 5.12, we're gonna close the public hearing.
Mr.
The
Mayor?
applicant can come back and speak.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah, the applicant can do a rebuttal.
yes, do you wanna do a rebuttal?
Yeah, certainly understood that it was an error in construction and the side yard distances are pushed to the max that they are. Again, I would just speak to the invasiveness of the procedure at this point. It's something that can be done, but it'll be a couple of days of construction. It'll be loud, messy, and, you know, a little bit of an inconvenience for the neighbors. I think it's certainly a decision of priority.
Mayor, if I may,
Go ahead, Councilor Clyber.
why didn't you guys just do it right off the hop?
I wish we would have as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So I guess, is there a timeline that this needs to be done in, or do we have to set a timeline, or, no? So how soon, when do you think you can have this done by?
We can coordinate with the homeowners and look to have the work started as early as next week, I would imagine.
Okay. Any other questions?
Shame this has dragged on for so long.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now we'll go to 5.12, close the public hearing. Be it resolved that council do hereby close the public hearing and resume the regular meeting of council. Could I have a mover, please?
Move it.
Councilor Shetty moves. Can I have a seconder?
A second.
Councilor Campbell seconds it. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. So now we go down to the resolution, 5.13, variance order V 07-24. Whereas an application for variance 724 was received for the property located at 92 River Trail Drive to reduce the north side yard setback from required 4 feet minimum to 2.88 feet minimum. And whereas under the provision of the Planning Act, a public hearing has been held to hear representation for both for and against the application. Therefore, be it hereby resolved that after careful consideration, Council of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul hereby approves variance order 7-24 with the following conditions. This variance is limited to what is proposed with this application, and any changes will require a new variance approval. A variance order will expire and cease to have any effect if it is not acted upon within 12 months of the date of the decision. A board, council, or planning commission may extend the deadline under section 1 for an additional period no longer than 12 months if an application is received before the initial deadline. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Pat Cam moves. Can I have a seconder, please?
I'll second.
Councilor Shetty seconds it. Any comments, questions? Go ahead, Councilor Pat Cam.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank the applicant for coming forward. I won't be supporting the variance. I think that we need to have a high standard when it comes to these new developments on these narrower lots. And, you know, it's in the applicant's comments, they had also wished that this was resolved sooner. So, you know, I think we're in keeping with the sentiment here. We also heard from the community. It sounds like they're on side with not supporting this resolution. So those are my comments.
Okay, any others? Can I call for a vote? All in favor?
Sorry.
Seeing
Oops.
none. Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay? Okay, it's been defeated.
Thank you. You're welcome to stay, or you can take off if you want to.
Yep. Okay, so now comes 5.2, open public hearing, conditional use CU 324. Be it resolved that this meeting of council recessed for the purpose of holding a public hearing pursuant to section 105 of the Planning Act. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councilor Clyburn moves. Can I have a seconder, please?
I'll second it.
Councilor Bichetti seconds it.
No, back to Ken.
Any comments?
Back to Ken.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
Councilor Pat Can. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, can I call for the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. So now I can have the planner address this one. Derek, if you could, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This is conditional use number 3 of 2024. It's for the property located at 760 Northumberland Road, and it's to allow a storage container on the property. Property is within the rural residential overlay zone, and storage containers are a conditional use within that zone. Here's just a air photo showing the property, the house, and some existing buildings on there. And here's the site plan that the applicant provided, showing all the buildings as well as the proposed storage container. The applicant is proposing a 40 by 8 foot storage container. They've noted that this would help, I guess, clean up the yard and as well as keep all their possessions in a safe place. This has come forward because of a request for a compliance a letter that was sent out, and this is the applicant's manner in trying to remedy the situation. This has also been circulated to the municipality and has come back with some comments. Should council wish to approve this, there's 3 conditions that are proposed. One, that the conditional use is limited to what's being proposed in this application. Anything more than that would have to come back to council for a new conditional use application. The applicant owner obtains all required permits, including but not limited to the River Pine District as well as West St. Paul if applicable. And finally, that the applicant is required to submit a site plan to the municipality for approval that includes the dimensions of the storage container, setbacks from the side and rear yard lot lines, and setbacks from the house. And the site plan is to also show how the container will be screened if viewable and must be painted in a uniform and neutral tone. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Could I have the applicant come forward? Oh, wait.
Or I have a question for the planner.
Good, go ahead.
Yeah, I do too.
Sorry.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Just to the planner, on the drawing, the hand drawing, the sort of the sketch, it talks about a proposed fence height of 11 feet. Is that something that's allowed?
No.
And that's not under consideration today?
I could shed some light on that.
It- We'll have to
I'll
wait.
leave it at the applicant.
Okay,
No, I believe it's 6 feet is your maximum height. I can
okay,
just look up your bylaw to confirm that.
thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, to the planner, this is a rural residential overlay. There's a shop on here. Does it have a permit?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And it's allowed on RR0?
It'd be an accessory building.
Would be considered an accessory
Yeah,
building?
yeah, in properties that are over an acre in size are allowed to have 3 accessory buildings on the property, and this is, I think, just a hair under 2.6 acres in size, so.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Can I have the applicant come forward, please? State your name, address, please.
It's Milan Minnick, 760 Northumberland Road, also of 650 Northumberland Road.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, first thing for that container and the fence, I built it in such a way that it would be removed. The top half, that's already been remedied. The minute there was a complaint there, I fixed that. That's 6 foot or just under. So that's already been okayed by Red River District and Planning. They told me that's fine. So that's no longer flyable, the 11 foot, so we don't need that. Second of all, I had a number of instances coming up with West St. Paul over decades already with equipment, with just, you know, stuff all over the yard. So in the last year, I've gone to way more expense than anybody else has, and I've cleaned up both properties. So it's not only 760, it was also 650. So that's been remedied just about to perfection, including I was putting gravel in the middle of winter where I was putting it in my shop, heating it in pieces, and then putting it outside after clearing the yard. So I've gone through way more than the average person would go to make that finally pretty like everybody's asking for. Now, that container, it is behind my house. I've had the neighbors across the street, have had people driving vehicles in the yard, smashing property, and then leaving, and then they were arrested. My immediate neighbor to the east side of me, he's had how many people coming there stealing fuel, driving stolen vehicles on the property and leaving. So I'm not really a big fan of not leaving that fenced. Plus I've got neighbors that are coming out at any given time, sitting in a lawn chair and watching me work every time I go outside. I've got one fool that's coming up to me screaming and running outside of his house with a phone taking photographs of me every time I start a tractor or anything to clean my snow. So I've also been kind of fed up with what's been going on, and that whole idea with the container, that will fix and resolve everything, and everything will be nice up front. I've also gone above and beyond. I've got a sizable trailer, a flat deck, a fifth wheel. Now, West St. Paul approached me and said, well, you have a few items on that trailer and it's in the very front. And I said, yeah, I said, that's correct. Do I have to move it? They said, no, but we'd like you to. So I said, okay, let's work together. This is the first year where we've actually sat down and not tried to tell me to move things in the first day of spring where there's 4 feet of water everywhere. We've actually, for the first time, tried to get along and progress forward with that. So this solves everybody's problem, and you could only see a couple of feet of it on one side of the house. The rest is blocked completely, and the proposed gate on the right side, which Red River District and Planning told me, I don't need anybody's permission for that, I just put it up anyway, and it's under 6 feet, or 6'4", I'm fine. So that will kind of resolve to give me a bit of a backyard to work on my, whatever I need to, fix a broken pin on a tractor for snow, or whatever I need to, doesn't matter. So I've got now in the last couple of years also, it's not anybody's real concern, but it's been mine. My entire family passed away, mother, father, brother, everybody. So now I've had to deal with all this at once. I've also inherited a property that has considerable things on there that are not average garage sized items. We come from an industrial background. So it's a little bit sizable pieces of equipment. We're not using a snow blower, we're using a tractor, with 3-point hitch attachments, and things like that. So I understand people want, everything to be, you know, a little prettier and whatnot, but in the front, I've taken care of more than is asked of me. So this is just going to be an extension of getting rid of all that, and that's the rest of it. So I will paint the top half of it, whatever color the RM wants. I am willing to comply with as much as I can, but I need that container there. At one point, I even sunk it about 1.5 feet in the ground, and I had the extension, I guess the lattice you'd call it, on top of the fence, and you couldn't see anything. I've gone to way more expense, way more time than anybody has. And you've got several of them down the street, including one guy that's, works for City Winnipeg, and it's out in the open, because he's got a truck parked there, and several others. So I don't really, to me, it doesn't matter what the neighbors do, as long as it looks presentable, and that's exactly what I'm after. The yards never look better, and I've had, including this very municipality coming up to me and telling me you're doing an excellent job. You know, you're working, I've even hired a guy to help me, so I don't know who could do more at this point. So that's where I sit. So if you have any questions.
Council have any questions? None?
Oh.
Go ahead, Councilor Paxton.
Yeah, I just, why a sea container?
It's
Why not,
secure.
why not a structure, like a built structure?
Well, one, it's rodent proof. We've got an outbreak of mice in the last few years because of COVID, I guess. Nobody was leaving their houses, so we've got epidemic of mice everywhere, all over every RM, not just West St. Paul. And I don't really want everything I have chewed up or infested with mouse feces and urine. It's not healthy, for one thing, so it's a rain-proof structure. It's better than anything. People actually build houses out of them. So that's probably the best thing to do. If somebody wanted me to build a shop or something else, that's fine, but it's a matter of that's the most less invasive that we can put up. It's solid on its own. I gravelled the entire backyard for that reason alone, and made access to clean snow and everything around it, so it wouldn't be, you know, a mountain of snow piled up over it or falling over the fence if somebody's kid walks by. So I've done pretty much everything I could there.
That's an old picture.
Okay. Any other- Go ahead,
Sea
Councilor.
cans are a lot cheaper though too, aren't they?
Yeah, they sure are.
Like $5,000 or
And-
$6,000, I was just looking at one.
Oh, I don't think you can put concrete up for probably less than 6,000 to 8,000 there. Everything's gone up triple over the last few years, nothing coming down, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at one right now for $6,000, so I know that they're cheaper than putting up a building.
Yeah, yeah. And the good news is you could move it if need be, so.
There's been a lot of problems with your property as far as
Absolutely.
tidiness is concerned. I've had a lot of complaints.
Oh, I believe it. So there's people that are gone from here that used to work, like I said, probably the last 2 decades. So again, take a look at the properties. They've never been better. So, and that's
Well-
what I'm trying, well, no,
That's
look
that's
at your old
relative to your,
photographs.
to your viewpoint, right?
No, actually, that's everybody. I've got neighbors that I've never met coming up to me and telling me that. Ask your own, who was it now, the ex-grader operator, what's his name? I forgot now, one of your own people that comes out to enforce that. He told me the same thing, and despite him and I didn't always get along. So he told me, I can't believe what you're doing, there's almost nothing left anywhere. Before it was a ton of stuff everywhere, so look at your own photographs over the decades. You'll find every single one of them was loaded before, now there's almost nothing. And that's easily proven.
Okay, anyone have anything else?
Just a
Councilor
comment.
Chetty?
So, Mr. Minnick, you said you'd paint the top half, the whole thing, just so that it's, you know how old sea cans look. Like,
Of course.
yeah, so at least it looks, and we're not picking a color, so it's gonna be.
Oh, pick one, go ahead, I don't care, so we
But
can
it's,
do that too.
just so that it looks,
Of course.
you don't want it to look, you're spending the time doing it, so at the end of the day, you probably want it looking straight and organized anyway, right?
Yeah, that's right.
They're not
So,
allowed in the RM.
I would gladly do that.
No, it's just too much stuff.
Anyone else, any
No.
questions? So you mentioned you have to sink it into the ground, is that the sea can you're talking about?
Yeah, I just dropped it a little bit because I was trying to keep that entirely out of view, not to hide it, because who wouldn't notice a 40-foot container? Yeah, so, but I just thought, okay, let's make it as best as possible for everyone, that they don't even have anything to look
That's
at.
your shop.
So, but I did put a very nice, pretty fence up there, and that does take care of most of it, but unfortunately, the top half, you're not gonna hide that, because I did take it down.
So when you sunk it down, you're not concerned about it flooding or anything, or?
Well, of course I was, but that just goes to show you that how committed I was to try to get this resolved. I was actually gonna sink a piece of, a pipe into the ground. We've done it many times before over the years, other places, and you torch a few holes in it, you put, heavy coarse gravel around it, and you drop a pump in it, if need be. So I was willing to go through all that just to make sure that everybody was happy. So, like I said, I've spent, I could have bought a brand new Corvette for what everything cost me in both yards, to maintain and to clean. So I'm not just, scraping some gravel there or shovel full or cleaning a garage like the average person. I've had to rebuild the entire yard. There was giant trees in the way, that were as wide as this table or stick, and I had to get that out of the way. Use stump grinders, big equipment to break things out of the way that was interfering with the well. There was all kinds of things that were in the way, that had to do to make this work. So including move a giant garden, which I'm a big fan of that, but you wouldn't know it, but I moved it out of the way. And that's after I spent, probably about $3,000 on semi-loads of soil, and then all of a sudden the complaints start coming. And I said, okay, well, let's move that too. So expense has not really been, it's been considered, but it's gone out the window faster than I could think it. Because I've said, okay, let's just resolve this for everybody. It's the first time we're all trying to work together. And I said, okay, enough is enough. I guess community is growing, so let's get that looking better for everybody. And I honestly don't see why anybody would reject it, because it's 90% of it is not even visible, and it's behind my own property. So,
I have a
behind
question.
my own house, pardon me.
Do you have anybody living there?
Myself,
What
the
about your
moment.
other property?
I'm in and out there. I'm technically still, at both, so I'm back and forth. Plus, I'm on a third one as well, which is not in the RM of West St. Paul.
Okay.
So is it, do you already have the sea can, or are you is this a new?
No, it is there already,
Oh,
so
so this is-
I
okay.
just went ahead with it because I thought everybody would be happy about it, to get that out of the way.
Okay.
So I knew there would be some, I actually paid double, for the, permit, because of that exact reason, because I already did it.
Okay. So, thank you. Anyone else have any questions?
Just quick,
Go
have you,
ahead,
have you had
Councilor
any of your neighbors complain or say that they don't like it to you, or indicate that?
No, but then again, to be fair, people aren't, I'm old school when I was still a kid. I grew up around, older people, and I used to listen to what they said, how they handled things. I'm not pretty much like a lot of other people are in the RM. If I have an issue with somebody, I approach them and I try to talk about it, but very few people will do that. So I've had from the RM knowledge that you guys have got your hands full with the new development across the street from me, that people are phoning RM and complaining that a guy's emptying his sump pit with a hose in the ditch, and complaining that he's causing solely, single-handedly, the entire mosquito problem of West St. Paul. Which I start laughing, because anybody that knows anything about living out here, it has to be standing water, like an old tire, something like that, for a considerable amount of time for a larva to hatch. But again, people
Get
come,
off track.
they don't know, and I guess, it's just how it is. So nobody's really approached me, but, I'm sure there is a few people.
Okay. Any other comments? Councilor Pittman?
Yeah,
Back to Ken?
it's, I appreciate what you're doing to clean up your property, and that's fantastic. I think that's definitely a testament to your character. I'm looking at your house on Google Maps here,
Mhm.
and it's an image that was taken July 2014. So you got a 3-car garage. It's a bungalow. Is that the house I'm looking at with a nice steel storage building?
Oh,
Is that the
yeah,
one?
it's four, not that it matters, but if it's the right house that you're looking at, yeah, it's four car and it's got the steel building also, yeah. But I also
Oh, yeah, sorry,
inherited the
four car, yeah.
building full,
Right.
so, and again, I put shelving up to the roof. I'm only dummy that's living in a $750,000 property without insulated shop, cause I don't have time. I'm working outside in the snow, I'm doing all kinds of things like that, just to comply with everything. That's been my sole purpose when I started this, in the middle of winter.
And so I just wanted to say, it's a nice looking house. You're right, it is a 4-car garage, and I just think personally that a CCAN seems to be out of character with it. And I hear your story about you know, you've inherited a bunch of equipment, you're keeping it there, but have you considered like renting a space for that equipment and, you know?
It's, how would I use it? So I'm not in business, on construction, I need it there on site. I worked hard all my life, I have to have a few pieces to, I used to lift, a couple 100 pounds of steel and throw it around all day. I can't do that anymore, I'm starting to get older, unfortunately. Everything wears out, pins on a tractor, including my joints on the body. So I have to do something to make it a little easier, to repair. I'm always repairing my own things,
Fair enough.
whether it be tractor or trailer or something I'm using.
Fair enough, and I
Yeah,
appreciate
so-
those comments.
yeah.
It's, for me, at the end of the day, it just seems a little out of character for a CCAN. I think that if you were talking to me about building a sort of a storage shed, like a pole shed with steel around it, I think it's sort of consistent with what you have there now. That's something I could totally support. So that's just my feeling.
All right, that's good to know, but very surprising, because most people, that's gonna be way higher yet. And people don't seem to like any changes, so whatsoever, so, you know, you tell me what to do, so. It was the least invasive, the lowest height out of anything. It's a glorified shack, except long, in height. I've got a shack or two that were taller, so, you know, I even remodeled all that stuff. I was re-shingling shacks and painting them quickly, even though it doesn't really match the house at the moment. I thought, well, better put a fast coat on there of some kind of cream color, opposed to white. I didn't have any, nobody else had any where I went. I said, okay, let's buy any color. So again, I'm going above and beyond where other people would say, no, I'm not doing that. I'm only gonna do the job once. I'm doing things 2 and 3 times just to make sure everybody's happy. And like I said, by all means, find some old photographs of the yard. It looks like a wrecking yard. And now it's like a 900% improvement. And anybody, including your entire office here, will say the same thing if you look it up, of the old photos that you've got on file,
Yeah.
including probably your 2014 photograph.
Do you have a current photo?
No, but feel free to drive by, anytime. I'm out there first one cleaning snow, even that, in case somebody has to pull in the yard or do anything like that, so,
Well,
yes.
I appreciate the collaborative mindset you have. Thank you.
Okay.
Councilor Clyburn?
So you were Minnick Industries on Capitals,
Correct.
right? Did you move all of that, did you sell all
No,
of your
are you
inventory?
kidding? We were on 32 acres there. I would have to bulldoze both houses down to fit half of that on both properties.
So you sold it as is?
That's
But you
correct.
But you have equipment from there?
No, there's small tractors, one loader, 3-point hitch pieces. I've got a 5th-wheel camper that I bought when my family, when my mother was one of the last ones that was remaining alive. I said, okay, I had taken, I quit working for the year to take care of her, and I said, okay, before I lose my mind with what's going on, I didn't want her in a hospital. I tried to do what I could, but okay, that's just a totally different issue than this, but it sets the standard where I was doing. And then I bought camper before anything even happened, because I said after this happens, I could see it was inevitable.
Okay, so why are there so many, like, when I was campaigning, there was garbage out front, there was tons of vehicles out front, there was trucks. Why were there so many trucks and so much stuff out there?
Well, that was my hobby. I was doing all that. I'm a fabricator by trade, a welder, things like that. So that's my hobby. I used to, you know, you've seen TV shows, you know, those guys that are on
I'm in
Fast
the
and
business.
Furious.
You're talking to somebody who's in the business.
Okay, well, there you go.
It's not,
So I
it's
was
not in
doing
my
all
front
that
yard
stuff.
though.
Well, I know, but it's not in mine either no more, or anymore. So
Okay,
it
well.
was just, that's where it was overflowing. So because it got out of hand in the last few years because I had helped a few people I know. A friend of mine was gonna go under in
So-
business.
so why-
I
why
helped him
now-
and I put everything aside.
So what are
for
you
my
gonna
own.
store in this Secan then?
Well, for example, a loader tire, I don't have time to change them because they're already cracking and breaking. But one loader tire comes up to the top of your table there and takes up from you to this gentleman here, and that's one of them. So put 3 of them, we're all of a sudden almost a 3/4 length of this panel. So where would I put them? If I
And
put
you're
them
gonna
outside,
Squeeze them in the Secan?
yeah, I did. So that's, it's actually got a lot of stuff like that in it that I haven't gotten around to yet because I don't have the time. Every time I tried to switch to working on my own things, which I'd like to, I had some issues with RM. Well, you need to move this, you need to move that. Okay, let's move that. Then I decided I can't do it on my own, so I hired someone full-time to work with me. So like I said, if I'm not complying, I wanna meet the person and shake his hand who is. Because, like I said, I'm probably 100 grand in deep to trying to do all this with everybody here.
Any other questions? No? Okay. Thank you very much. Are there any, no, you can go ahead, you can
Okay.
sit down. Any people for?
No one registered in support, in opposition is Norma Albert.
Okay,
In opposition.
Opposition, yes. Could I, oh, you first.
Norma Albers, 212 Evelyn. Tough one. This one's not easy. I'm not familiar with the gentleman, Mr. Minnick, nor his property. Just a reminder from the provincial planning guidebook for the Planning Act regarding conditional approvals. Sort of an overview for them, they say for you to consider is what you want the surrounding community to look like. And so I think that, you know, Mr. Minnick has spoken to the challenges that he has for his property and timing. But I think that the long-term answer here in a residential property is not the CCAN. That doesn't mean that it can't be a part of a short-term answer. And oftentimes, if there is so much from my listening, it sounds that has come his way that he has to deal with, that perhaps a more complicated or fuller plan, rather than chipping away at one little bit of his yard at a time, is for him to come forward with a plan for what the final thing will look like. It's difficult to plot your road to go somewhere if you haven't said where you're headed. So if he can actually envision what he thinks he can have that yard look like, and put that into the staff from the municipality, so that there can be some agreement of, this is where we're headed, what it's going to look like, and come to an agreement on what we think the time will take, so that you're working with him to get there. But the CCAN, I just don't see it as an answer. It's not what we want our surrounding community to look like. Maybe in the industrial park, not there. Yes, I've said before, CCANs have many uses now, and, but in a residential neighborhood, if there was a CCAN there, I would want it to be absolutely unidentifiable as a CCAN. It may have been the beginning structure, that's the best place to start, but then there's so much that gets done to juice that thing up on the outside that you would never look at it and say, oh, there's a CPAC. But perhaps it can be the start of something, but not the end of it at all. And it's not just slap on a coat of paint. I think it's more than that. But I think, you know, this is not the usual situation. And he's probably not alone either, and that perhaps this is an approach to take, is to have the homeowner say, this is what I think I can arrive at with my yard. I think I can actually get it to look like this. And then the staff can decide, okay, well, let's come up with a time frame, and then be on top of that enforcement. You come to an agreement, get there to the end point.
Thank you.
In opposition is Eleanor Link.
On the link 1045 Toshak Road. I feel for this resident. He has, I think, tried to clean up his front yard, and that has taken a great deal of effort. However, can we look at the property map, property information map for this? This house looks to have a lot less frontage. Look at the size, the length of the driveway. And then look at the length of the driveways on the homes beside him. I also feel for this resident's neighbors, because he stated that they come out and they bother him when he's working in his backyard. But the fact is, if they come out into their front yards, they're going to see his backyard, because that's their view. Now, and the backyard, the applicant says he hasn't had a chance yet. He has made some improvements. But the fact is, when people come out into their front yards and can see a lot of different implements and a sea can from their front yards, I'm afraid my sympathies lie with those people. Would you like to see it from your front yard? That's when the, back in 2016, May 12th, almost 8 years ago, the setbacks had to be standardized in the RM, and many streets were given setbacks. This street on the south side, which I believe this is the south side, the setback is to be 100 to 150 feet. So that was probably an older home, obviously. Wasn't, maybe the houses around them are newer, I don't know, but it's a setback problem that everybody's inherited, I think. That's all.
Thank you.
For information is Jerry Blinky.
I heard it all.
Okay.
And lastly, Ron Lewick for information.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing.
Okay, thank you. I guess could I have the applicant come forward for rebuttal? So they made some comments. I don't know if you have anything to say to them about it, or?
Yeah, actually I do. Nobody could see anything from the backyard. You need binoculars to see the end of the field. There's nobody behind there. So we were on first originally on that side. The house was built in, I believe, in 2000, that particular one. My other one is from, I believe, 70. And there was nobody, anything across the street, and there was nobody behind. There still isn't anybody behind. Maybe in the future they're gonna build someday, but not at the moment. So that's not actually correct. And again, my house runs west and east, and it's it's very long, and the container is right here, and the fence runs north and south. The container runs north and south, right beside it. So again, I don't know, you have to look pretty hard to see it in between two houses, but my front yard is actually much bigger than most people's. You can turn a semi around almost in it, and there's nothing in it. There is no debris, there is no, that's the whole purpose. I didn't blow $100,000 by looking, moving pieces of gravel around with a toothbrush. I actually moved everything, so there's nothing in either yards. And the backyard has been sectioned off. Once I complete that small gate, it is a closed unit. You can't see anything back there. The only thing you can see is the top of the container. And if we gotta put a peaked roof on it and put some pretty wood that's stained on there for the first few feet so no one can see anything, or it looks like a long shack or concession stand, or put Gold Bombers Go on it, I don't care, let's do that too. Like I said, I'm willing to try to comply, because it's resolved all the problems. Before, everything was all over the place, and there was nowhere to put it. Now, I've successfully managed to put 2 yards into the one, which was no small feat, and left everything of my own to deal with after. I have no shop to work out of. I have to plug in diesel tractor with block heaters to make sure it's gonna go. If it doesn't, well, I got a problem on my hands. I guess I better start another one, because that one's not getting fixed, because I can't work outside in the cold with my bare hands and something like that. So again, I put everything aside just to comply with this, and that's been pretty much all year. So again, this little bit won't bother me to do something else, but nobody could see that from behind. There is nobody behind there. So again, I know it's hard to envision it, because if you explain to me your house, I have to be there to see it. But it's easy enough to look into and to see if I'm telling the truth. Send one of your people there to look it over if you want. You've already had the guy show up, I don't know, probably 10 times already, looking it over, and has okayed everything and said, we're done here. You've more than met what you need to do here, and I'm still continuing to do it now. So it's an ongoing thing, because I'm not too happy with it yet. So I'm just trying to make it that much better, so we're all at peace and we can all move forward and nobody has to deal with this anymore, including myself.
So you mentioned you're sectioning off your yard?
What, pardon me?
You mentioned something about sectioning off your yard, once your yard is sectioned off.
Yeah, well, like I said, my house, it's like this table. It
Yeah.
runs west and east. The shop is over here and the small gate will go between here. You can't see in. Now that takes care of any traffic down the road. And over here, there's already existing fence right beside my house and a gate to come through. And that takes care of anything. All that's remaining is maybe 1.5 feet of the top. So that's all we gotta worry about, and it's not a traditional C-can, because you've got them in plain sight, all down the same road, piles of them, and nobody's complaining. But mine, because it's been an ongoing problem, it's just been kinda lumped together, in my opinion, because that's kinda, everybody's like, oh no, now what's he doing? So, but I said, I made the joke already earlier to the people showing up there. The guy's name escapes me there, I forget his name. But anyway, I said, I've never had so much trouble in my entire life complying with something. You guys keep trying to trip me up every step I take, and yet I've made everything much better. And he kind of laughed and said, yeah, I know, but, we still have to do this and that. And I said, okay. So, and we didn't used to get along too well, but we actually kind of do now. So it's I guess time to bury the hatchet and move forward, which is what I've been trying to do. So.
Anything else? Go ahead, Councilor.
Yeah, just a comment to clarify what previous people, so where your neighbor's house is set back further, so when they look out their backyard or on their deck, they're looking at the C-can, that's what we're trying to say.
No,
because
they're looking at my shop.
Okay, I'm just gonna
Not on
finish
both
here.
sides.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they,
Yeah.
they come out of there, and it's because of the setback, right? Your house is maybe set back 50 to 70 feet, and everybody else is 120, so that's the problem. where, you know, if I was living next to you and I came out and wanted to sit on my deck in the summer and have people over, I'm looking at your fence and then the sea can that's up and above. I know previously on your street, we've made people, and I know the one name just comes to Klippenstein. I remember them, we made them make the container look like, by putting on like hardy board. That's something I know we made them, someone else do before. Pardon me, sir?
And the pitched roof.
Yeah, and a pitch roof. Just, you gotta remember, like you said, you know, $750,000 property, people wanna be able to enjoy it and feel like they're not, you know, angered by what they're looking at, looking out their yard, just like,
course.
just like you would. And I can appreciate you going, you know, taking steps because, you know, whether we like it or not, your properties have had some issues in the past. So,
Tons.
yeah, so, you know, I appreciate, you taking the steps you have, and I think we, you know, we either gotta make a few more steps, or we're gonna have to reject the CCAN being there. That's my opinion, so.
All right. Understand that?
Anyone else? Okay. Hearing none, okay, thank you very much for your time.
Mayor, I wonder if, I don't know if it's in order, if, our CEO could speak to that property. This has been ongoing issues with that property since I've become the, counselor. Has it been cleaned up?
We, as indicated, we have stepped up enforcement efforts in terms of bylaw enforcement and untidiness within the RM. There has been material progress on the property.
Okay.
Terry Ferguson was his name, sorry. That was the gentleman that oversaw it.
Okay,
I have a question for the planner.
yep.
What size, like what size structure can the applicant build on the property? You know,
Permanent
in lieu-
structure?
Yeah, in lieu of a CCAN, like.
In the rural residential zone, if you are, as I indicated, if you have a lot that's over 1 acre in size, you could have 3. And each of those can have a maximum height of 15 feet. Now, if it's a pitched roof, that's halfway between the peak and the eave, so that which might be a little taller. And each of those 3 can be 1,200 square feet.
Okay. Good size, thank you.
Any other questions?
I'll make my comments after closing.
Okay. So I guess we'll go to,
Close the hearing?
yep,
This is only how many square feet.
okay, Peter, can we close the public hearing? Oh, just that one, that's true. Which one, are we at,
324.
324, okay, good. Be it resolved that council do hereby close the public hearing and resume the regular meeting of council. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councilor Clyber moves, can I have a seconder? Councilor Shetty seconds it. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. Now we'll go down to the resolution for, conditional use C 324. Whereas the applicant has applied for conditional use 324 to permit a storage container at 760 Northumberland Road in the RRO rural residential zone. And whereas underneath the provisions of the Planning Act, a public hearing has been held to hear representation for and or against the conditional use applicant. Now therefore be it resolved that the rural municipality of West St. Paul approves conditional use 3-24 under the following condition. That the conditional use approval be limited to what is proposed within this application. Any changes in use or expansion will require a new conditional use approval. Applicant owner obtains required permits and approvals, including but not limited to those from the Red River Planning District and the RM of West St. Paul, if applicable. Applicant is required to submit a site plan to the municipality for approval that includes the dimension of the storage container, setbacks from the side and rear property lines, and setback from the house. The site plan is also shows how the container will be screened if viewable from any public street or abutting property. And must be painted a uniform neutral tone in accordance with section 3.9.4 of the Western Paul zoning bylaw. The approval of the conditional use will expire and cease to have any effect if it is not acted upon within 12 months of the date of the decision. The board, council, or planning commission may extend the deadline under subsection 110-1 for an additional period no longer than 12 months if an application is received before the initial deadline, for a second period no longer than 12 months if an application is received before the expiry of the first extension. Could I have a mover, please? Councilor Bichetti moves, can I have a seconder?
I'll
Councilor
second.
Clyber seconds. Any comments, questions?
I've
Any
got some
discussions? Comments? Yes, thank you. Okay, any comments?
So this is a property I've been dealing with since I became counselor. Both Counselor Pactican and myself have received numerous complaints. The accumulation of things, I don't even know how to say it, equipment, all kinds of things, it kept accelerating, kept going up in both properties. We had complaints about both properties. It's been ongoing for over a year to try to clean up this property. I don't think putting a C-can there is gonna help it. It just gives rise to storing more things. And that's my concern, is there'll be more things appearing on this property. It needs to be cleaned up, it needs to be kept clean. It is in a high, it is in an affluent area where people are very, keep their lots very, very nice. I understand that, his parents died, this was his parents' house that we're looking at right now, and he took it over, but what we saw right after that was an accumulation of vehicles, flatbeds, all kinds of things, very much related to construction. I don't know that they were used specifically for construction, but related to construction. I can't support this application because I just feel like there'll be another one, because there'll be more storage, there'll be more things going into it, it'll just keep going. And we have to, at some point or another, say, no, you gotta clean up your yard, and you gotta keep it clean, like everybody else on that street. So for me, this is a no.
Go ahead, Councilor Pactican.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. You know, it was good to hear the applicant come forward and to talk about the incredible strides he's made to clean up the property. I definitely will go by and have a look and see, I wanna see what he's done with regards to cleaning up. I think that's fantastic. I think there's some options here for this, for the resident. As we had heard from the planner, the resident can build up to 1,200 square feet, so a 40 by 30 foot permanent structure or somewhere in between that. You know, and that would definitely be more in character with the residential neighborhood. Northumberland, as Councillor Kleiber said, is a very affluent area. There have been a number of new homes being built to a really high standard. And as much as I do have sympathy for this resident and, you know, would like to help him, I think we also have to make decisions that benefit the entire RM and to uphold that standard. That's our role, I feel. So in this case, because he has an option that could be consistent with the Red River planning to build a permanent structure, that's what I would support. And in this case, I can't support the resolution.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, can I call for a vote? All in favor? Opposed?
Nay.
Hey,
Defeated. Okay, so next is opening a public hearing, conditional use CU 524. Be it resolved that this meeting of council recessed for the purpose of holding a public hearing pursuant to section 105 of the Planning Act. Can I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councilor Pactican moves. Can I second her, please?
I'll
Councilor
second.
Kleiber seconds it. Any comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None? Carried. Okay, now we'll ask speak to the planner, if he can do his presentation, please.
Thank you, Mayor. As you noted, this is conditional use application number 5 of 2024. It's for a property located at 34 Marigold Road, and the purpose is to allow for a home occupation, specifically a beauty service type of a business. Here's the air photo that we have on file, but I will go to Google Maps
There's nothing
instead,
there.
since that's a little bit old. That's a little bit better, right? The Google Maps shows you the subject property where I have the arrow. It's on the corner there. The property is over 5,000 square feet in size and has a single-family home on it. The applicant is proposing to have a beauty services type of business, hairstyling, skincare, that sort of thing, and that does fall within the home occupations in your zoning bylaw, which is a conditional use for council to consider and approve if they deem it appropriate. The applicants noted that in their submission to our office that they have talked to the neighbors and there haven't been any concerns or objections to their proposed business. They feel that's going to be a minimal traffic in the area just because it will just only be a home-based business. And just a couple things that council of this application will have to consider if this fits within the context and the character of the neighborhood, and if it will have any negative impacts on the adjacent properties. Should you wish to approve this, there are a couple conditions that we would suggest. The first is that the conditional use is limited to what's been proposed in here. So for a beauty type of a business, if the applicant wanted to do a different kind of home-based business, they'd have to come back to council for another approval. Number 2, that the applicant obtains all required permits from both our office and the municipality, if applicable. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions for the planner, Councilor Coxon?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Planner, is there a requirement for the applicant to have appointment only for this type of home-based business? Like by appointment only, or is it it's drop in, or what are the arrangements?
There's nothing in your zoning bylaw that says by appointment only. There are some, section 315 of your zoning bylaw lists some requirements. Maybe if it's useful, would you like me just to go through those requirements?
Yeah, I'm just wondering from a traffic flow standpoint, that's kind of my concern.
So in terms of traffic flow, there's a couple of topics in here. Parking, the home occupation is not to, shall we have the required parking, shouldn't be in excess of what's in terms of the character. Pedestrian or vehicle traffic, it says the home occupation shall not generate undue pedestrian or vehicle traffic beyond what's characteristic of a neighborhood. So there's nothing that says you're limited so many customers per hour or per day. That being said, it's completely within council's purview if you want to put hours of operation or those types of things on an approval.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay, can I have the applicant come forward?
Good evening. Can you speak up?
You have to speak louder, we can't hear you. Don't be afraid, we're not gonna hurt.
My name is Kuldeep.
Kuldeep Gill?
Yeah, Kuldeep Kaur Gill.
So go
And your
ahead.
address, can you state your?
34 Marigold Road.
Okay.
Okay.
President Paul?
So explain what you want to do, if you could, please.
In my garage, I want a beauty service. I follow all rule and regulation of West St. Paul community. So I take only appointments, one by one. I'm not creating any traffic. So, I do everything legal. So.
Is it just you that is
Yeah,
doing
I
the services?
I do. I'm not hire any person. So,
What hours of operation do you operate?
weekdays, 10 to 4.
Like Monday to Friday?
Monday to Friday.
10 to 4? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you mind if we added those as the conditions? Or is that what you're willing to,
Because of my kids, so when she come back 5 o'clock, so
Mm.
before I can, impose.
But do you require weekends? Like, do you do the services on the weekends?
No,
Okay.
before.
Okay.
I spend my time with
With
my
your family.
kids.
So you're okay if we put Monday to Friday, 10 till 4?
Yeah.
As one of your, as hours of operation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you in Meadowlands or are you in?
Yeah.
Parkview Point?
Meadowland.
Meadowlands,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
Not traffic too much I take appointments, right?
Mhm.
So it is very far, our house, no rush, right? Only community people come sometimes, yeah. But I want legal everything.
Yeah.
so-
Yeah.
That's good.
Good.
And have you got some room on your driveway for them to park? Good.
You're gonna set this up in your garage,
Yeah, in garage.
so the cars that you have now won't be parking in the garage, they'll be parking on the street, or where will they be parking?
On street only, I have one car, so.
You only have one? But you have one car or two-car garage?
Two.
Two car?
Yeah.
So what happens if you get a second car?
Well, I think we
When
have to
I buy and
anticipate.
then I,
We have to anticipate.
We have to anticipate some street parking
Yeah.
for sure during this time. Yeah.
I go to door, so not our neighbors don't have any objection.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's good, you went through the door.
How many neighbors did you talk to?
our street
Yeah.
near, yeah,
Like more than 4 neighbors?
no, more,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
That's good.
behind, the sides and front.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No?
No? Okay,
Go ahead and do this one.
thank you very much. Okay, do we have do we have anyone for?
Yes, in favor is, Kalwinder Jit Sandu.
Okay,
You wish to speak or just, you wish to speak? You don't have to, just, okay. Okay.
In support, Cortez, Singh.
Support?
okay,
Okay.
Sukhjinder Singh Gill.
okay,
Okay.
And also in support is Simranjeet Jaswal.
Yeah, so I'm not resident of West St. Paul. I'm from Winnipeg Atlas, but I just came for translation lately. So maybe I'm a future resident of West St. Paul. I don't know.
Okay, good. Nice.
is there any,
That's interesting.
is there anyone opposed?
In opposition is Mike Arsenault.
Okay, Mike?
Yeah, you wanna come up?
Arsenal, 38 Marigold. So we live right next door. There's not, I guess one of our biggest concerns is that there's not a lot of street parking. The only parking spot on the street around is right in front of our driveway. It just makes it really hard to get in and out. Another concern of ours is my wife works shift work, so a lot of times during the day she is at home sleeping. Quite often she works like 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. shifts, so quite often she's sleeping during the day, so noise might be a concern as well.
Okay. Any other concerns or disclose? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any others in opposition?
No one else in opposition for information is Norma Albert.
Okay.
Norma Alberg, 312 Evelyn. I just have a couple of questions regarding it. What's being proposed sounds great, and I don't see any problem if there's the one lady doing some care with one person at a time. It seems that the category of the business is broad to me. It's not saying it's, say, a hair salon it's saying beauty services, so that can be several types of services. And so over time, perhaps, even if it's not intended now, she may find that the business does so well that she's able to hire somebody else to help with it. So I'm wondering, does the license belong to the property, or does it belong to the individual? Because if it belongs to the property, then once the door is open and the zoning is there, or the conditional use is given, then whether the intention is now or not, it can become a larger business that is potentially more of a problem for the neighbor. So just those questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any others for opposition?
For information is Eleanor Link.
Eleanor Link, 1045 Toshak Road. This is a home-based beauty service, and the letter of intent says that it primarily will allow for beauty services. So what would be the secondary purpose of the business besides that primary beauty service is being provided? Will products be sold? And is that allowed? Parking's been covered. Now, I looked at the plan for the garage. There's one chair shown in the makeup and brow bar room, and the sink is in the storage room area. What will be kept in the storage room area? Because it appears that residents, if you've come to get your hair done, you're going to get your hair washed, and then you're going to go back into the main area. So I'm wondering what's going to be in that storage room. Is it going to be a retail outlet for beauty products, or just why the storage room is the same size basically as the area where customers are being directly dealt with? Also, the letter of intent was signed, I believe, by 2 people, not just one. So is it one family member or more than one family member that will be involved in the business? Those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
And lastly, in opposition is Jerry Belinky. Or sorry, not for, in opposition, for information.
Okay.
Jerry Belinky, 354 Garden View Drive. I just have a question. Is this gonna be a beauty salon? Because it's not very clear what it's gonna be. And is she a licensed hairdresser? And if not, she's supposed to be hiring, so it changes everything. If she's not, then she's hiring. So all of a sudden we have employees. So that's the question. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other ones? Anyone else got any comments, questions? Okay, seeing none, go ahead, Mr. Planner.
Mr. Mayor, there's a couple questions that I heard from the audience that I think our office can answer. They're more related to the zoning, if you'd like me to do that now.
Just by
Okay.
all means, please.
So there was a question about, is the approval with this person, or is it with the land? How does that work out? One of the conditions that we always recommend in, if you do wish to approve something, is that the conditional use approval be limited to what's proposed within this application, and any changes have to come back to council. So why we put that in there is so that whoever is the person proposing whatever the business is that it's tied to that person. It doesn't run with the land necessarily. So it would be for this person. If it changes hands, that would be a change. Somebody new has to come in and make an application. In terms of can they have employees, no. The zoning bylaw for home occupations outlines, I'll just read it out for you. The home occupation shall be carried on solely by members of the family residing at the same dwelling unit and shall not employ any other persons. So you can't have an employee from outside. You can only have people that are living on the property as part of the home-based business. And I believe the last question that I can address is, can products be sold? Your zoning bylaw outlines that articles sold or offered for sale are limited to those that are either produced therein on the property. So if you're making something, you can sell it, or produced elsewhere but are already prepackaged and held on a temporary basis for distribution to customers. We would take that to mean almost like a mail order kind of a business. We have something, we're mailing it out when you get the, I'm guessing these days, the website sale kind of a thing. So hopefully that answers the question.
Okay.
Can the applicant come forward and?
In your rebuttal, can you address your neighbor's concern about parking when you have an opportunity?
I don't create any traffic because like I only take appointments, so
Could be one car at a time.
yeah, one car,
Parking in your driveway?
yeah,
Okay.
driveway or side. Just
I'm just gonna ask you a couple questions. So on your picture, you have a brow bar,
Mhm.
which I fully understand. Are you doing waxing or nails?
no, I don't do. I
Doing
don't,
hair?
No,
So what
Ju-
services are you offering then? Brow?
makeup and eyebrows.
So it's a makeup service?
Yeah, makeup artist thing, and eyebrow service.
Okay. And that's it?
Yeah,
So, basically, it's sort of like a professional makeup artist. If somebody's going to some kind of festival and they need to have their makeup done, they would come to
Yeah,
see you and you do
yeah.
their full makeup.
yeah, very rare, and eyebrows something.
Yeah, just wax the
yeah.
eyebrows or pluck the eyebrows or
Yeah.
whatever it is you're doing, yeah. Okay. And those are the only services you're offering?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. And, do you plan on having any prepackaged stuff that you wanna sell?
no,
You know, I would just say to the planner, that would be no different than if somebody was in a Mary Kay and multi-level and had some stuff on the shelf. It's the same kind of thing,
because
in
I'm
my
not,
opinion, it's not a
like
big
to
deal.
convince the people,
Yeah,
so
it's
I
not a
don't
big-
have ability to convince.
Yeah.
So,
But if you were to
So-
do that, I wouldn't
Mhm.
have issue with that either. Okay, so it's the two services that you're offering
Yeah.
only, okay. All right, and you were okay with the hours that we proposed?
yeah,
Okay,
Just,
good, thank you.
just so I understand, so is this something that, they can only do one person at a time?
Yeah, you can't do multiple people's
Yeah.
brows unless,
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought I asked.
well, you could have one person sitting and waiting, and you can have one person in the chair.
Yes,
Right.
okay. So,
I
okay,
mean, it's the same thing as if you have a hairdressing. I went to a hairdresser in River Grove who had her place, her basement and couldn't be more than 2 to 3 people at the same time. You can't do more.
no, I know, it's just,
Yeah.
one could be having their hair dyed or whatever. and-
Yeah, but they're not doing that, right?
Yeah, no, I know, that's why I was wondering.
Yeah,
I know,
so
okay.
it's like, it's not gonna be a long period of time that somebody's with her,
Yeah.
unless she's doing full makeup, so.
So,
yeah.
so I got a question to the plat, so is there any way of controlling traffic in this area, not with this business, or how does that work?
So you've already noted that you're open to the idea of a condition for hours of operation.
Yeah,
You could also put a condition to the effect of only one customer is allowed on the property at a time, or something like that, if you wanted to limit that. I know the applicants already said they do by appointment only, but if you want to avoid the
Overlap.
people waiting in the queue, so to speak,
yeah,
you could do something like that, yeah.
okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
but putting something like that, you have an event going on, someone's mother and daughter are going together, well, now you have 2 people waiting, but they're still there in the same vehicle, especially if it's a function that's going on
Yeah.
that you're, So I think it's just gotta be respectful to the area, like, and we all have to live in the area, so it's, we're not going anywhere, so you gotta get along with your neighbors, right, so.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Okay. Okay, so now we'll close public hearing CU 5-24. Be it resolved that council do hereby close the public hearing and resume the regular meeting of council. Could I have a mover, please? Councilor Bichetti moves, Councilor Campbell seconds it. Any comments? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Carried. Okay, so now comes the resolution of conditional use CU 524. Whereas the applicant has applied for conditional use 524 to permit home occupation, beauty services at 34 Marigold Road in the RS Service Residential Zone. And whereas under the provisions of the Planning Act, a public hearing has been held to hear your representation for and or against the conditional use application. Now therefore be it resolved that the rural municipality of West St. Paul approves conditional use 5/24 under the following conditions. That conditional use approval be limited to what is proposed with this application. Any changes in use or expansion will require a new conditional use
Mayor,
approval.
could we put in here on this condition, proposed within this application, which is a makeup services and brow bar? Can we be specific?
Yeah, we could add that in later on, right?
Okay.
Okay. Applicant owner obtains all required permits, approvals, including but not limited to those from the Red River Planning District and the area of West St. Paul if applicable. The approval of conditional use will expire and cease to have any effect if it is not acted upon within 12 months of the date of the decision. A board, council, or planning commission may extend the deadline under subsection 110-1 for an additional period no longer than 12 months if an application is received before the initial deadline, and for a second period of no more than 12 months if an application is received before expiry of the first extension. Can I have a mover, please?
Mr. Mayor?
Can we
couple
put conditions
conditions.
in first before we move?
We have that
Yeah,
conditions
we
before
could
we
do
move.
the conditions
We
first.
have- we gotta do
We have to
that?
firm up the conditions?
Yeah, one more
And then we can
condition.
move?
Sure, okay.
The
So we
Monday to
wanna do the
Friday, 10
hours?
to 4.
Yeah,
And by appointment
Monday to
only.
Friday,
And
10 to
by
4,
appointment only.
hours of operation.
I know what Councilor Kleiber said about the, what is it, Neil?
Brow, makeup services and brow bar.
Could we not just change where it says home occupation, it says beauty services to home occupation, beauty services, brow bar, sorry, but.
Makeup.
And
And makeup services, just
Yeah.
kinda, instead of
Yeah.
putting a whole other condition.
Then it's specific, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, and then hours of operation, we said 10 to 4.
10 to 4, Monday to
And by
Friday.
appointment.
And by appointment only. Yeah.
Good.
I don't know that we need to really address the parking. I don't think it's gonna be an issue.
Who's gonna police it?
That's the problem. The neighbor. If it becomes a problem, you let us know.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be, but if it does.
Well, Counselor Bichetti pointed out to me, there is the, around the corner from them, there's the whole.
On Marigold.
Yeah.
On Marigold,
On the south.
you know, if it started to become a problem, we could, request that that's where the parking be. Is that,
There's other neighbors that park there quite a bit of as well too, so.
But it's daytime stuff where there's usually, sorry, we shouldn't get
Yeah.
Yeah,
speaking with the,
yeah,
sorry.
okay, but we can,
Play it by ear.
if we restrict it to one customer at a time, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, it's by appointment only.
or by appointment only, yeah.
Yeah, by appointment only.
Okay.
And the applicant will have to
We need to move
do
it.
their due diligence in that regard.
Yeah.
So what
Okay.
happens if there is forward complaints about parking? How does the municipality address that?
And it's breaching the conditional use.
Well, you can rescind the conditional use if the parking, it continues to be a problem.
Yeah.
You pull back the
We have a
conditional
planner.
use.
Go ahead, Mr. Planner.
You can rescind the conditional use if they're not following the conditions of approval.
Yeah.
That's it. So if you don't address parking
Parking.
Yeah.
as a condition, then I would say you cannot rescind.
Okay, so then we gotta address it. So applicant would be providing the parking on their driveway,
Well,
because they're saying it's one customer at a time, right?
they are
Not to
allowed,
impede other homes?
they are allowed to use the street for parking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a public street.
It's not,
Oh,
it's
we-
not people for the business, it's people, friends coming over.
Yeah,
Can you
anybody.
stop them from parking on the street?
Yeah, that's right.
Mr. Mayor, the planner.
Planning is fine.
So, Mayor and Council, you can add whatever condition you feel is necessary to address concerns related to this application. So if you wanted to put in a condition, something to effect of, I'm just spitballing here, customer parking shall be limited to being placed on the driveway, you could add something like that. And if you found out after the fact that customers are continually parking on the streets, we'd obviously have to be able to prove that somehow, then you can, and if it's a continued type of a infraction or nuisance, then you would be able to pull the approval.
Okay. Would council wanna do that? Customers to park on the driveway?
I would think
They
that-
said they only have one car at this point.
Yeah, and if they have more than, then if they come by a car and they have two customers in it, still with one car on the
Yeah.
driveway, right?
Yeah.
Or they have four people come in one car, I mean, that's,
Yeah.
I think that's it.
I don't think cars are gonna be too much of a problem, but we could put that in there. I think that in that community, people will be walking over there more than anything.
Yeah, it is a walkable neighborhood, so, you know, and I guess there could be some people that could park on Meadowland. I mean, they could park there and walk down. I'm not opposed to adding that restriction.
Okay, so can someone read out what add-ons are now? Someone's writing it up, thank you.
Certainly. Whereas the applicant has applied for conditional use 524 to permit a home occupation, beauty services, makeup and brow bar at 34 Marigold Road in the RS Serviced Residential Zone. And whereas, under the provisions of the Planning Act, a public hearing has been held to hear representations for and or against the conditional use application. Now therefore be it resolved that the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul approves conditional use 524 under the following conditions. That conditional use approval be limited to what is proposed within this application. Any changes in use or expansion will require a new conditional use approval. Applicant owner obtains all required permits and approvals, including but not limited to those from the Red River Planning District and the RM of West St. Paul, if applicable. Hours of operation to be Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and by appointment only. And that customer parking be limited to the driveway only. The approval of the conditional use will expire and cease to have any effect if it is not acted upon within 12 months of the date of the decision. A board, council, or planning commission may extend the deadline under subsection 110(1) for an additional period not longer than 12 months if an application is received before the initial deadline, and for a second period of no more than 12 months if an application is received before the expiry of the first extension.
Did you say customer parking or just parking?
I said customer parking is limited to the driveway only.
Okay, thank you.
I'm okay with those conditions.
Yep, okay.
I'll move it.
Can Councilor Clyburn moves, can I have a seconder, please? Councilor Campbell second, Councilor Shetty seconds it. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None, carried.
Congratulations. You're welcome to leave if you.
You're in business.
You're in business, yeah. You don't have to stay if you want. If you wanna
Okay.
leave, you can leave. Or if you're here to stay for others, you're welcome to these.
So now we'll go, open public hearing, variance order VO 11 slash.
Can we just take a 5-minute break?
No, 5-minute break?
Yeah, just, do you mind?
You guys want a 5-minute break?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just to give you a bit of an idea of what it might look like. So while the maximum size proposed is 1650, that's for 2 floors. So the footprint of this is going to be 900 square feet. And as well, we should note that there's an existing structure on the property that they're actually replacing, which I believe is about a 680 square foot footprint and about 1360 square feet overall. It also has a second floor in it. So the applicant's looking to replace what's there with something new. As I noted, it'd be 1650 square feet in total, 2 floors, smaller footprint though is what we're looking at. This has been circulated to your municipality and the administration have recommended that a grading plan would be required for approval prior to any construction, just to make sure that drainage concerns are addressed. Which is pretty standard part of building something new. So if council does wish to approve this, there are just sort of 2 standard recommendations here of conditions. One, that the variance approval is limited to what's being proposed in this application. Any changes would have to come back to council for a new approval. And that the applicant owner submits a lot grading plan for approval prior to construction, just to ensure that the neighboring properties are not going to be negatively impacted. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. Council have any questions for the planner?
I do.
Go, Councilor Clyburn.
So the reason that we're coming for, what is actually allowed in here is, what is the allowance here?
You're allowed to have an 800 square foot accessory building.
Okay, so, and that is both floors is what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay, so the reason that we're getting this variance is because there's a second floor.
Yeah, there's sort of 2 parameters when it comes to size, regulating your accessory buildings in your zoning bylaw. One is the square footage, which we take as the total square footage.
Yeah.
So however many floors or lofts or anything like that. And the other one is a percentage of the lot size, so which they're going to be well within because the footprint is very small. So, yeah. So.
And the building is going to be demolished that's currently there?
That is my understanding. That's going to be taken down and replaced with this, in roughly about the same spot.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions, Councilor Boucher?
So right now, that other building is legal non-conforming.
That's probably safe to say. We don't have any records on it.
Well, yeah,
I think
it's-
the applicant can probably speak to it. I'm guessing it was probably built before the planning district was incorporated, but.
For a couple of those homes were even in that area, it was there,
Exactly,
so.
exactly.
Okay.
Any other questions? So can we have the applicant come forward, please? State your name and address.
My name is Ron Kurian. I reside at 338 Minnehaha.
Go ahead, explain why you want to do.
Oh, I'm just basically I'm replacing the structure that's there is dilapidated, falling apart, is becoming an eyesore. So, I just would like to build something that I could actually fit my van into. Is one thing. I've lived there for 18 years, and I'm doing this now because I finally only have the time to do this now. I've been working my butt off for the last 18 years. Our house does not have a basement, and we are packed. We are crammed in that house, like unbelievable. So that's again the second story is just going to be storage. It's called a storage rafter, where the middle part of the rafter is open, and it goes on top of the existing walls. And so to call it square footage is, I don't know, that's a gray area in my eyes.
Council have any questions for the applicant?
I've seen storage rafters. Can you explain a little bit? I know it's like it's open and then you can actually pull down and put something on it and move
Yeah,
it
well,
up.
I'll have a staircase going up.
Oh, yeah, the staircase going up. Okay.
At the back. And the reasoning is also the way it'll still emulate the barn. It'll be the same style, so that a barn style is made for storage up above.
Yeah. Okay. And are you planning to do any business in there?
No.
No?
Like I've been.
No big
I've-
parties?
Yeah, my work is all mobile. I
Yeah.
don't do any work at home.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Paxton, you have questions?
Yeah, so I see the sketch that you've provided. there's not too many details on it. Can you just maybe let us paint a picture of what the final structure is gonna look like? What kind of exterior,
Oh,
you know,
yeah, the
color?
exterior, well, I was thinking of actually putting maybe a artificial barn board on the outside, or,
Oh.
I'd like to either make it look the way it is exactly, or what I wanted to do is emulate my house, but I don't know if I can get the height restrictions. I was gonna, cause I have a big A-frame there.
Yeah.
As the house, but, so I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll just rebuild what I have. Otherwise, I would do an L shape, and it'd look like my house, just do another A-frame.
Are you building it yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
Got any questions? Anyone have any questions?
Mr. Curran's a carpenter.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
None? Okay, none? So is your place gonna be heated, your shop, or your building?
Yes,
Or what?
the existing building, is insulated. It has
Okay.
knob and tube wiring in it. It's not hooked up, but it actually had a knob and tube wiring. And so I thought, well, it's had it, so I'm just trying to keep in with what's there.
Yeah. Okay, no other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Are there anyone for or against?
Yes, Kyle Carrion in support.
Okay, noted. Okay.
Might inherit
Okay. And-
Gary Gallowan is in support. He provided an email earlier today.
Okay.
For information is Norma Albert.
Okay.
Do you wish to speak?
Norma Albert, 3 Top Allen, just one question, Mr. Curran, he alluded to the height, I'm just wondering, is there any implications here for height restriction within the neighborhood, or does it come well within, say, a 2-story house, or, that's the only question.
We'll get clarification.
You'll be able to rebuttal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else?
For information, Eleanor Lynn.
Eleanor Link, 1045 Toshack Road. Just a quick question. The Dodge Sprinter vehicles, are they for business purposes?
Okay, thank you. Any other?
And for information, Jerry Bullen.
Okay? Okay, I guess I'll ask the applicant to come back forward and address those questions that were asked.
Were there any questions?
The height and the Sprinter.
Oh.
Yeah, the height. The height, according to, the municipal, or RRCC.
The planner?
You're allowed 15 feet to the midpoint of the barn, the mansard roof.
Okay.
So that is what I built it, 15 feet to the
Okay.
midpoint, which I've marked on that drawing.
Okay.
So it's within compliance?
Compliance.
Yes.
Absolutely, yep.
Okay, good.
And then the van Sprinter was just, those are vans, your vans?
Yeah, my vans, they're I can never find a garage high enough for the door to get them into, and I can't work on them outside. I need something there.
You have 1 or 2?
I have 2.
2? Good. Any other questions?
One each.
One each.
Yeah, 1 each.
Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
So, okay, so now I'm down to 5.4.2, closing the public hearing, VO 11-24. Be it resolved that council do hereby close the public hearing and resume the regular meeting of council. Can I have a mover,
I'll
please?
move.
Councilor Shetty moves. Can I have a seconder, please?
I'll second
Councilor
it.
Paxton seconds it. Any comments, questions? None? Can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. Now we go to the resolution, 5.4.3, resolution variance order VO 11/24. Whereas an application for variance 11/24 was received for the property located at 338 Minnehaha Avenue to increase the maximum size of an accessory building from 800 square feet to 1,656 square feet maximum, and whereas under the provisions of the Planning Act, a public hearing has been held to hear representation both for and against the application. Therefore, be it hereby resolved that after careful consideration, Council of the RM of West St. Paul hereby approves variance order 11/24 with the following conditions. This variance is limited to what is proposed within this application, and any changes will require a new variance approval. Applicant owner submit a lot grade plan for approval prior to construction to ensure neighboring properties are not impacted. A variance order will be expire and cease to have any effect if it is not acted upon within 12 months of the date of the decision. A board, council, or planning commission may extend the deadline under subsection 1 for additional period not longer than 12 months if the application is received before the initial deadline. Go ahead, Councilor Bichetti.
Can we just put one condition that this is replacing the 1,300 and whatever square foot, just so that it shows that it's being,
have to take down my.
Yep.
one's coming down. And it does show that there was already an over 800 square foot building on the property. 1,300 and whatever the number is that they used. If everyone's okay with that.
Okay. Gotta read it up. Can
Would you like me to read the whole thing,
No,
or just the
just-
addition?
just
Just the
addition.
addition.
The applicant owner obtain a demolition permit for the existing accessory building.
Okay, thank you.
No, but can you put the existing, whatever the square footage of that building was, just to show that that building was over the 800 at the same time? You had a number on that, the size of that existing building.
For the existing.
1360.
Okay, 1,360
There we go.
square foot accessory building.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
thank
you.
you. No, the hearing's closed, so
Okay, so can I have a mover, please?
I'll move.
Councilor Bichetti moves, can I have a seconder, please?
I'll second.
Councilor Kleiber seconds it. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None, carried.
You got it. Congrats.
Yep. Okay, thank you very much. So,
Have a good night. Yep.
That's that one.
what's this one?
I'm just get opening, I wanna say.
So is this one, which one was the one that was
That
canceled?
was
The subdivision.
the last one, I think.
551?
Oh, no,
Yeah, no, it's the next one.
next one.
S.
Next one.
S something. S 233019 was canceled.
Oh, okay.
So we go to 6.1.
Oh, yeah, that's,
Oh, that's this one here, right?
Yeah.
5.51, that's the one?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now we're down to
6.1.
6.1. Oh, wait a minute, someone was suggesting that we change the order of the
I think
meeting
we get the planning stuff
to
done.
go in camera first, so that,
Well, we can finish this one and then go in camera so that.
Because we
Pam
need the
can go
planner
on.
here for this.
yep, okay.
Let's just finish this one.
Okay, first reading of zoning bylaw amendment, bylaw 2024-7. Be it resolved that bylaw 2024-07P being a bylaw of the RM of West St. Paul to rezone the subject land located at 4041 Main Street from RG residential to RS service residential, and to rezone an unaddressed parcel located on Masters Avenue from A4 to RMF1 service multifamily residential. One, and open, or OS, open space to be read for the first time. Could I have a-
Could we hear the planner first before we move in second?
Sure, yes, we can do that. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. As you noted, this is zoning bylaw amendment 2024-07P. It's for a couple properties located at Main Street and Masters Avenue, and to rezone to 3 different zones. So I'm going to show a couple images just to kind of clarify, because if you're like me, maybe you're a visual learner. So here's the subject properties that we're talking about. So the property just to the east of the old monastery is being proposed to be rezoned from the A4 agriculture zone to the RMF1 multifamily zone, and then a portion along the river to the OS open space zone. And then I'll say south of Masters, rezoning from RG to the RS zone. That'd be similar to what previous councils had approved for rezoning and subdivision just immediately north of here, couched by Masters to the further north there. So, and here's just a non-air photo, just to give you a sense of what we're looking at. So the applicant's proposing all these different zones to facilitate a 68 single-family residential lot subdivision, as well as a just under 6-acre multifamily site, and then a 2.3-acre public reserve open space kind of site. The subject land is currently designated as a settlement center and falls within the Middle Church Secondary Plan as a designated emerging residential neighborhood. There is an associated subdivision that, as I said, it's S243043. Both the rezoning and the subdivision were submitted at the same time. They both require public hearings, and if this is passed for first reading tonight, we would propose to bring both those applications for a combined hearing to council at a later date. Just to give you a sense of what the applicant's proposing, here is the subdivision layout. It's a little bit kind of hard to read there.
I can never see these drawings.
They're kind of small and detailed, aren't they, right? I wonder if I can use my cursor without, it doesn't show up. Never mind. So the bottom portion of that drawing, where you can kind of see a black outline, is what the applicant is proposing through that subdivision application to tie in with the existing lots and existing roadways that are stemming off of Masters. And then it will tie into the roadway already established to the neighborhood to the south, and retaining some of the homes that are already existing on that property. And then you can see the more of a simpler polygon on the top right of that drawing. That's the proposed multifamily site, and then the open space zone. So, generally speaking, just from a cursory overview of the application, this is in keeping with both the settlement center policies and the development plan and the Middle Church secondary plan policies. That being said, if council gives first reading to this, we then circulate the application to the government agencies and various different departments for comments, and then we do more of a deep dive into the policies to ensure complete compliance, or possible conditions for council to consider to ensure compliance. So with that being said, we would recommend that first reading be given. It would allow us to schedule a public hearing and go through that further research, including circulating and gathering those comments to the government agencies. And as I said, if this is approved for first read, then we'll bring both the subdivision rezoning back at the same time. So you can consider them both as sort of one package. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
I'll
Any
just go back
questions
to
for
the
Palmer?
drawing.
Go ahead, Councilor Paxton.
Several questions.
Yeah, what's the, can you just, let me know, I'm interested to know what the size of the lots are, south of Masters, and the width, and what would be the final side yard of these, of the homes, like side by side? I'm curious about that, and maybe if you can speak a bit more about the multifamily. What does that look like? I see a rendering, but I don't quite understand it.
Where did you see this?
At the end.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe in your package, we included the applicant submitted information there with some concept plans. So the applicant's proposing that RS zone, which is what you see both north and south of the perimeter. The lot size minimums are that 4,400 square feet and then 44 foot wide with 4 foot side yards. I guess the theme of fours there. I don't have the details of all of those lots for the subdivision. That's something we would bring you back on those details when we have that public hearing and that analysis. In terms of the RMF1 zone, it does allow for multifamily in the form of townhouses, and the density is a bit confusing in your zoning bylaw. It allows for 1 unit per 2,400 square feet of site area. Bear with me just a quick second, I'll do a quick calculation for you. So on this site, that would be over 100 units, give or take, 107 around there. I'd have to double check my arithmetic, but I think that's what would be the maximum allowable. Of course, when we get further in the process, if council does approve this step, council can always add you can't add conditions to the to a zoning, but you can require a zoning agreement, like a development agreement, where you can list zoning-esque type of conditions, whether those be site development standards, building designs, or even putting a cap on densities, heights, where you're going to place buildings, buffering, that sort of thing. So if there's concerns about density and that sort of stuff, you can address that through that tool. I should note, as always, a zoning agreement is like a development agreement, and those can always be appealed by the applicant and go to municipal board for that, if they choose to take it that far, so.
So this, these lands, and particularly the multifamily, has already been zoned by the previous council?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, okay.
The applicant's
We're doing
proposing to rezone that about 6 acre portion to a multifamily. Right now, it's an agriculture zone, it's a remnant zone of the
So there would be a public hearing process on this, for the second reading, second and third reading?
That's right, so in between first reading and second reading, we have to have a public hearing.
Okay.
So, if
Go
I
ahead,
can-
Councilor Khan.
yeah, so my concern with this is, we can zone this RMF1 and we really don't know what's gonna go in here. Could be townhouses, could be, what else could go in there? Duplexes, it could.
Bungalow condos,
triplexes,
duplexes, that sort of thing.
fourplexes,
Exactly, I think,
Bungalow duplexes, 2 stories, 3 stories, you never know.
that would be correct, and you don't know the layout. The only time you would know the layout of multifamily is if they're proposing to make a bare land condo type of a scenario, and that requires a subdivision approval. Similar applications that have come forward, I guess that I've been part of, where they've been multifamily like this, I have recommended to council that you might want to give consideration to those zoning agreements, which are registered on title, so at least you can address things like design standards, site development standards, that sort of thing, which your zoning bylaw does not really address a whole lot of. So.
My concern here is that the developer can come in here and developers do this, they blanket it with the general RMF1, and a number of things can go in, as we just discussed. And there's nothing council can do about it once it's done, other than, can we register something on the development agreement to say we only wanna see bungalow duplexes?
You can, of course. You
But
can require
then
a
he could
zoning.
appeal it, right?
That's absolutely right, yes.
Under current legislation. Under current legislation.
Yeah, under current legislation, right. And so the open space that they have proposed here, what are they proposing? There's nothing, we have no information of what that open space is supposed to be.
We.
Supposed to be public reserve?
We don't, and that's something that if this would move forward, we will want to get clarification from the applicant on, because they've proposed an open space zone, which is like a park zone, but then I believe on the subdivision plan, they've labeled it as public reserve, which if it's going to be registered, it entitles as public reserve in the name of the RM, it doesn't necessarily need a zone. It's just registered as that, so we want to get some clarification of what exactly is going to go on there. But that would be the information that we bring forward at the public hearing time, as part of our deeper analysis, as I noted.
So when I look at this, plan of the subdivision, it's 13.42 meters, which is 44-foot lots.
46.
There's 14.03, which is 46-foot lots. And then there's 15.24, which is 50-foot lots, with a spattering of 3 larger lots.
Right.
And my concern, and I'll express this to council, my concern with this is the 4-foot side yards are becoming a problem. And we were supposed to have new zoning, which got pushed back because of other issues, but we as a council can open up our bylaw and do a couple of amendments so that we don't have 4-foot side yards anymore. Is that correct?
At any time, council can change their bylaw, whether, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a full-blown review, it could be like an issue. You know,
Yeah.
we call them sort of housekeeping bylaws, but
Yeah.
if you want to just take care of one or two things, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have similar concerns, and my thought pieces are that in the RM of West St. Paul, that generally speaking, this is a rural municipality with larger lots. I ran on that platform and made the commitment that if I'm gonna be reviewing development, that would be something that I'd be looking at and challenging the developers to ensure that they develop in keeping with larger lots. So I see the economics behind this, and I see that it's similar to what's being developed now, but, you know, we're starting from a blank slate. We've got a new council. I see the issues with these narrower lots with regards to parking, with regards to 4-foot side yards, and, you know, this council has dealt with 2 variances already with problems with 4-foot side yards. I see the parking issues, congestion, you know, and other developments with these smaller lots. And for me, just personally, that it's kind of, it's more, it feels more like the city of Winnipeg rather than the RM of West St. Paul. So, you know, if an opportunity presents itself for me to review development with small lots, I really am more of a supporter of larger lots, and I'd like to see that from this developer. I'm not sure I'm a fan of the multifamily on the river myself. I have to think about it, but just on first glance, I'm not particularly, and I'm not just, this is not a slight against the developer. They do great work. They've done great work in the city of Winnipeg. I'm familiar with the work they do with business parks and everything else, residential. But this is the arm of West St. Paul. I think that, you know, I'm not gonna criticize previous councils, but I think that we need to sort of go back to the character of West St. Paul, and these lots for me are a bit too small.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Anyone else have any questions? No? I sort of share Councilor Kleiber's feeling about Section B here with this family unit there, that we don't know what's going in there. And with C, we don't know, they want to do C as as public reserve.
Yeah, but we don't know what that's gonna be either.
Yeah.
My concern is, people are very upset about their rentals on Main Street. And that could conceivably turn into that again.
Yeah.
Cause Because the developer will turn around and sell the land, there's no doubt about it. So where will it go, we don't know. And that's why it's so important to open up our bylaws and be specific about our multifamily.
Okay,
You need a mover and a second.
yep, okay. Can I have a mover, please?
I'll move.
Councilor
second.
Clyburn moves, Councilor Bichetti seconds it, okay, any more discussions? None, okay, call for the question, all in favor,
Aye.
all opposed,
Nay.
defeated. Okay, that's that one, so now. Okay, so now we can go down to in camera. That's all right, we'll move down to in camera.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think that Pam can go ahead.
There's no public hearing, that's correct.
No.
Just so that Pam
Nope.
can leave and then we can finish up everything else.
So be it resolved that the council now move out of camera and resume the oh wait,
In Cam.
right. There it is. Be it resolved that in accordance with section 152.3 of the Municipal Act, council do move in camera to discuss matters that are in preliminary stages respecting with discussion in public could prejudice the municipality's ability to carry out its activities or negotiations. And be it further resolved that in accordance with section 83(1)(b) of the Municipal Act, any issues that are discussed are kept confidential until discussed at a regular meeting of council. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councilor Clyburn moves, can I have a seconder, please? Anyone second?
Councilor Bichetti?
Councilor Bichetti seconds it, okay, all in, any discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None, carried. Okay. We're ready here. So we came out of camera, we have a resolution to do. Where are we? There's it. Be it resolved that the Council of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul approve amending the development agreement for subdivision S16-2668 to add an addition of a sidewalk on the south side of Elm Drive, east of Public Reserve B, which is to be constructed at the expense of the developer. And further be it resolved that the mayor and CEO be authorized to sign any amended pages of the development agreement addressing the added sidewalk. Could I have a mover, please?
I'll move.
Councilor Bichetti moves. Can I have a seconder, please?
I'll second.
Councilor Campbell seconds.
Do we need any addition for the other option? No? Okay.
No? Okay, none. That's for the high-vis signs?
Yeah.
Okay. So, can I call for any other comments? None, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. And the other item that we discussed in camera was, pre-agreement for subdivision S22-2965. We are now gonna go down to number, what was it?
7.1.
7.1?
Yep.
Regular meeting of February 22nd. Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on February 2024 be approved. Could I have a mover, please?
I'll move.
Councilor Campbell moves, Councilor Paxton seconds it. Any discussion?
Oh, I should move that, 'cause I was.
None?
Hold on,
You
Mr.
can,
Mayor.
you can.
Go.
Doesn't
Can
matter.
I? Okay.
Okay, go.
No, that's fine.
You don't know? Okay. Can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Carried. Going down to 9.1. The first reading of bylaw to rescind Recreation Committee bylaw 2018-3. Be it resolved that the bylaw 2024-03 being a bylaw of the rural municipality of West St. Paul to rescind Recreation Committee bylaw 2018-03 be read for the first time. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councilor Clyburn moves. Can I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Councilor Paxton seconds it. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. Okay, 9.2, first reading of Recreation Sports Reserve Fund bylaw 2024-5. Be it resolved that the bylaw 24-5 being a bylaw of the municipality of West St. Paul for the purpose of creating a recreational sports reserve fund be read for the first time. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Patrick moves it. Can I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Councilor Kleiber seconds it. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. 9.3, first reading of the first reading of Access Center Reserve Fund Bylaw 2024-6. Be it resolved that the bylaw 2024-6 being a bylaw of the rural municipality of West St. Paul to update the name and provision established in the Sonoma Center Reserve Fund and rescind bylaw 2012-16 be read for the first time. Can I have a mover, please?
I'll move.
Councilor Bichetti moves. Can I have a seconder, please?
I'll second.
Councilor Kleiber seconds it. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. That takes us down to number 10.1, accounts received as information. Don't know if anyone have any questions again on this account here. None? Okay, carry on down to 12.1, final financial statements for period ending December 31, 23. Be it resolved that the Council of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul approve the financial statements for the period ending December 31st, 2023. Can I have a mover, please?
I'll move it, Mr.
Councilor
Mayor.
Patrick moves. Can I have a seconder, please?
I'll second.
Councilor Kleiber seconds it. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. Takes us down to 12.1, financial statements for the period ending January 31st, 2024. Be it resolved that the Council of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul approve of the financial statements for the period ending January 31st, 2024. Can I have a mover, please? Councilor Bichetti moves. Can I have a seconder, please?
I'll second it.
Councilor Patrick seconds it. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, can I call for a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. Okay, that takes us down to 14.1, miscellaneous correspondence for the month of February. Be it resolved that the Council of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul accept the miscellaneous correspondence for the month of February as information. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Patrick moves. Can I have a seconder? Councilor Kleiber seconds it. Any comments, questions? Seeing none, carried.
We have to vote.
Oh, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. 15.1, miscellaneous meeting dates. Be it resolved that the Council of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul authorize the attendance of the following meetings: February 26th, Seven Oaks Subdivision School Trustee Dinner Meeting, Mayor Trujan, Deputy Mayor Patrican, and Councilor Bichetti. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councilor Kleiber moves. Can I have a seconder, please?
I'll second.
Councilor Bichetti seconds. Any comments, questions?
Did you have Chinese?
No.
It's pizza.
Oh, okay.
Any other comments? None? Okay, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. Okay, 15.2, the J.C. Baldiston Award and Youth Award Program Policy, ADM 2024-1. Be it resolved that the Council of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul approve and adopt the J.C. Balderstone and Youth Volunteer Award Policy ADM 2024-01 as presented. Can I have a mover, please?
I'll move.
Councilor Bichetti moves. Can I have a seconder, please?
I'll second.
Councilor Kleiber seconds it. Any comments or questions?
No.
None? Okay, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Carried. 15.3, FC Northwest Club Partnership Proposal. Be it resolved that the Council of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul approve the partnership of SC Northwest Club. Can I have a mover, please?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Patrick moves. Can I have a seconder,
I'll
please?
second.
Councilor Bichetti seconds. Any comments, questions? Can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, carried.
15.4.
15.4. Accessibility Committee Council Appointments. Whereas the Council of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul passed a resolution 2024-066 at the regular meeting of council held on February 22nd, 2024 to establish the Accessibility Committee and approve the Accessibility Committee terms of reference. And whereas section 5.1 of the Accessibility Committee terms of reference provides that the composition of the Accessibility Committee must include a minimum of 2 members of council. Now therefore be it resolved that, don't have the names.
Mr. Mayor, I
Councilor
believe it's
Patrican?
myself and Councilor Bichetti.
Yeah. Councilor
Patrican, Councilor
Patrican
Bichetti.
and Councilor Bichetti be appointed to the Accessibility Committee. Be it, can I have a mover for it, please?
So moved.
Councilor Clyber moves, can I have a seconder?
I'll second it.
Councilor Patrican seconds it, any comments, questions? Hearing none, call for the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. Okay, 15.51, wastewater utility directives. Be it resolved that the Council of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul approve the application to recover the 2018, 2019, 2021, and 2022 utility operating deficit as presented. And be it further resolved that a method of recovery be used to accumulate surplus funds. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councilor Clyber moves.
I'll second.
Councilor Campbell seconds it. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None, carried.
19.
And we were done.
All the way down to
German.
19.
19. Wait, I'll find 19. Oh, 6 or 9. 9 or 6. Okay. Be it resolved that this meeting of council stand adjourned at 9:07 PM on Thursday, March 7th, 2024. Can I have a mover, please?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Councilor Bichetti moves, Councilor Campbell seconds. Does anyone have any comments, questions? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Seeing none, okay, carried.
Adjourned.
Good night.